I guess, you had an email that
Okay,
said that,
we're recording now, and the meeting is open, and we're recording, and there's nobody in the audience at this time yet.
thanks very much. So go ahead with the roll call.
Judy Baldini?
They usually call us and we say here. Kim?
Okay, Judy Baldini,
I'm here.
Scott Savage,
Here.
Sheila Shannon,
Here.
Tom Maddox.
Here. Okay. What am I looking at here? Minutes. Any discussion and comments on the minutes before their approval? Anybody have something they would like to mention on the minutes?
I don't see any issues.
I move we accept the minutes as presented.
No, I got some things I want to say.
Oh, you do?
Yes, I
That's
do.
because you read them slower than the rest of us.
Oh, I read them before I started the meeting. Do you want time to read them?
No.
Okay, I've got a question. Hey, on D. Alessandro, and Scott, you probably know this. He has submitted another request. Is that what that is? That's in that pile of stuff that I have? This is his from last week.
Yeah.
Is there a new one from him, Scott? Do you know?
The one that I have here was from 8/27. But what he's doing is he's saying that his insurance company is saying that his tree is causing unsafe situations with the sidewalk, and that he wants us to take care of it.
Right.
The problem is that I've been over there many times, and it is an issue, but the neighbor right across the street from me is much worse, and nothing's been done. But here's the situation. The tree does not have to come down. The tree could be trimmed up, and then all we've got to do is cut the sidewalk out, not sidewalk, but whatever, anyway, and, work it that way, and that would take care of it. He keeps wanting to get this tree cut down.
Right.
And it doesn't have to happen. I mean, it's going to cost. And on top of that, the sidewalk, he thinks we're going to fix it, but realistically, it's his problem. That's why I got a copy of the code, because I want to go through it and see exactly what the code says about it. But I know everywhere I've ever lived or been in business, the code is that if it's your sidewalk, you fix it.
We fixed ours.
Yeah,
Right.
that's why he wants the tree taken down. Probably, I don't know the man, but it
Yeah.
probably is so he doesn't have to fix the sidewalk.
Tom, I think you are correct that this is the second submission.
That's
Oh, no,
all.
I'm sorry. I was on the phone with Mr. Barthel. This is not the second submission, but I thought it had been tabled at the last one, or that you were going to discuss it at this meeting.
Okay, so actually, we should.
And I think part of the reason was, and I'm not sure if it says this in the application, but when he talked to me, he said that his insurance company told him he needed to get rid of that tree because it was dangerous to the building, for falling on.
Okay.
Because it was going to. What I was told is that it didn't have anything to do with the tree falling, because it's not going to fall. The tree, what it needs is to be trimmed, because the wires are right inside of the whole, frame of the tree. The problem that they're complaining about, that from what I understood, is the sidewalk is dangerous, which it is. But again, that still is his responsibility.
Okay,
That might have been what he meant by insurance company.
Well,
I'm sorry, what did you say, Kim?
That might have been what he meant from the insurance company wanted him to get rid of it. Maybe that was the reasoning was behind it, because of the sidewalk.
Yeah, yes. I don't know. I think John needs to talk to the city manager about the the city administrator about the problem and see if where the interest goes there. We're otherwise, I just for a matter of getting the minutes right, the meeting between, which is on page 3 down near the bottom, and it's a meeting that was held with Miss Brownskill and Miss Davidson, and they asked to have the meeting changed to 9 o'clock in the morning because they had something that came up in the time that they were going to meet with us. So Ron and I met with them for just an hour that morning when they did want to meet with us, and we learned a lot about how we're going to go about getting the money applied for and so forth. So I just wanted to straighten that part out, and I might as well do it now too. We have the page 4, the elm, the Princeton elm, come down about the middle of the page. The Princeton elm planting has been changed
Oh,
to yeah. Now that I don't know, that's not a correction to the minutes. I mean, it's kind of filling you in since it's there. Kathy, I see you. Kathy,
Yeah.
do you want to say something?
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say, Tom. What you're discussing are actually old business items.
Yeah.
The minutes just need to be approved or amended
Okay.
as they stand.
Okay. These are all things that didn't happen.
Right, right. So
but-
what you're doing is you're actually discussing old business.
Thanks very much. That's very much. Okay. Then secondly, does somebody approve that they be approved? Does somebody motion that they be approved?
That we approve the minutes as they are.
Okay.
second. Judy,
And those other items should come up at another time.
Hey, Ron,
Now,
Tom, I think Ron is on the thing now.
Ron, welcome.
Yeah.
Ron, you hear me? Shake your head if you hear me. Ron's not shaking his head, everybody.
He might be muted. Oh,
Ron,
Now, I'll tell you what, since I've already given my report, because that really did have a little bit to do with the elm and with the meeting being changed.
hey, did you have a date? Did you have a new date for the elm?
We have a new date for them to come and visit our meeting.
Oh,
And it is the meeting after next, meeting after this one.
they're gonna
Sorry.
come on the Zoom? Or are we gonna have it inside somewhere?
The meeting, it's going to be inside. Just a chance to ask them questions and to meet with the two of them and for them to get to meet with you, because you guys should be on the tree commission for a while, and they should be in their positions for a while. And the state forestry service seems to tie in a good bit to what we're doing, maybe in more ways than we had even thought that it would.
Excuse me, Tom, this is Kathy again. I'm a little confused by your discussion there. The question about the date for the Princeton elm, did you ever answer that?
The date is the December meeting. Nope, November meeting.
They, okay, so they're Brownskill and Davidson are coming to the meeting in November to talk about the Princeton elm. Is that what it, is that? how I understand?
No,
Okay.
they're checking about, they're talking with us about the grant that we're trying to get for the Forestry
Okay, so-
Service.
Okay, so they're coming to the November meeting to talk about the grant.
That's right.
Okay, is there a date for the Princeton elm? Am I totally missing something here?
Now, no. The next thing I will talk about is that, though.
The Princeton elm.
Okay, the planting of the Princeton elm
I'm sorry.
has been changed to spring.
oh,
Ron will explain more on that. Brian, do you want to mention now who's recommended that and what's happening with it? I don't think Ron's going to do it, guys. He's deaf.
Ron,
How do you get somebody to turn their microphone on or to turn their listening
Their
on?
sound, he's not muted.
Hi, Ron.
yeah, he's not
Okay.
muted.
turn it up.
Turn your volume. Yeah, we could,
You mean me turn my volume up?
no.
No,
He needs to
Ron,
turn his
Ron.
volume up.
There he goes.
No, he doesn't go. I guess there's nothing we can do.
Wait, let me
He's-
see if, I
He's
can-
about the same, he's about the
Ron.
same as not being here. Everybody wave at him.
Ron, can you hear me?
Now he's waving. Now
No?
he's holding his hand. Now he's holding his hand
Turn-
over his ear.
Turn the volume up. The volume up.
Okay.
Wait, let me try
Oh,
something.
wait a minute, hold on. Connecting the audio.
And now we go. Now he's
I was
muted.
gonna do that, Kim. I'm just sitting here writing it.
Ron, you can hear us. Can you say something?
He's got to unmute.
He's muted.
Talk.
Now he's muted.
He's muted.
I think
think,
you have
He's
to,
he's calling his wife to come help him. Or maybe she's not there
I think,
today.
there you go. There you go. Now we got it.
how about now, Ron?
Say something, Ron.
Oh, my.
Okay, I have something else to say. My report will be finished in a couple things here. One is the,
Can you hear us, Ron? Shake your head. He hears.
No.
Yeah, we can't hear him.
Well,
We
his
can't
microphone
hear
might
you.
not be up. Maybe he needs to turn his microphone up.
yeah,
Volume.
I guess,
Ron, can you turn your microphone up on the volume, your volume?
Kim? Is Kim
Yes.
here?
Yes,
Could
I'm
you
here.
call him on your phone, call his cell phone number and
Okay,
maybe make a suggestion to him?
all right. I'll
I'd
try
do it
to
if I
that.
could, but I can't do it.
Okay, hold on.
She's calling him and see if he answers his cell phone.
Looks like he's got it.
It's your cell phone, Ron. You hear it ringing? No. Okay.
There we go.
Well, he was able to hear us, right?
Right.
I think he just needs to turn the volume.
I wasn't sure of that. No, because
No, he said he
No,
Scott
in the
was saying,
beginning.
if you hear us, let us know. You know,
Yeah, not in the beginning though.
no,
No,
but at the end.
after a bit.
Yeah.
he's telling him what to do, but I don't see him doing it. Maybe we're watching him have another phone call. Oh no, he's leaning over it now.
Trying.
All right.
Oh, he just muted.
Oh, Kim, he's muted.
He might not gonna be able to do it. Hang up the phone. Drink water.
Okay, I'm not sure what the problem is, but I'm gonna call him on my cell phone and then call the meeting, and then he'll be in the meeting. I tried that with a Board of Adjustment and it seemed to work. So
Thank
give me a
you.
minute, I'll try that.
Thank you. That's great, Kim. That's great. He planted 19 trees this weekend in town.
Yeah, I
Did you know
know.
that? 19 trees.
I had a few people tell me they saw him out there working.
The only place I see him is when he's on his knees on the sidewalk.
Yeah, right.
And that, Sunday evening, 6:00 p.m.,
Mhm.
pulled parked in my house and he was out there working on the sidewalk.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah. Yep. He's moving his lips, boys and girls, but
I'm
think
not
he's
good at
supposed-
reading lips, but
I thought he was supposed to talk on his cell phone. And then it would come across to us. She's got it hooked up to her cell. Oh, that just rang. Okay. I don't know.
Tom, while we're waiting, if you could, during the rest of your comments, go back to the.
Is that you,
I'm
Sheila?
sorry. No, this is Kathy. I'm sorry. If you could go back to the D'Alessandro situation. I'm looking at my notes. The previous meeting, you tabled it for further investigation. Are you doing anything with that now in this meeting, or is it tabled again? Does it need more investigation?
It's a good question. What do you say, Scott?
it can go through, it doesn't take that long to go through the stuff that I put together. So it's, I mean, it's fine with me. We can do it a little later in the meeting.
Okay, Kathy, your question was, are we reconsidering it at this meeting today?
Yes. So you will be reconsidering it later in the meeting.
We're going to have a vote on whether to go over these things that we have now
Okay.
that have built up to a fairly large number, or we're going to put them off until next month.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss something in my notes.
No, actually, we're not decided. Let's revisit it
Okay, excellent.
after we do something else. Still trying to get Ron.
Thank you.
He can explain about the Princeton Elm, but anyway, he did have advice.
Okay, I'm gonna put in the meeting. Hold on 1 second. Okay, can you hear Ron?
Nope.
No.
Not unless he says something.
I'm going to step away for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay, Mr. Bukelis, can you try speaking again?
Can you give me some more volume?
I don't understand.
Yeah, I can't hear him.
Hold on.
Just want to turn up the right knob. I'm just trying to get some volume, so I'm not going to keep asking so much what you said. That's it.
You suggest that.
Okay, somebody say something. Let's see if the volume's better.
Hello.
Hello?
Oh, that,
Hello.
Now
Yep.
we hear.
okay, I've got a lot of volume
Good.
too.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Hey, we have Ron.
Thank you.
Ron,
Well, thank you so much.
Welcome, Ron. Ron, we immediately had a question for you, and it was you explained a little bit about the reasons for the Princeton elm being planted in the spring rather than the fall.
Oh, it's a fall dig hazard.
A fall what?
dig has it.
Dig
Oh,
hazard.
dig hazard.
Needs to be dug in the spring. Yeah.
Okay.
It's about,
Is that because of the type of tree, or is that the size, or?
it's the type of tree.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So I have a motion, of course. Of course, I have a motion. And this is in support of Ron and the work he's doing, and he and I worked on this together. And it is this, and you've received a copy of this. It says, I move that when one or more trees are being considered for planting in a series, they should be the same species or cultivar, meaning 3 of those being planted together. And you've seen that being worked on. You've seen us being done. You've heard us talking about it. And I just want to know if that's acceptable. So I've made the motion. Now, do I have a second?
I'm going to say this.
You have a second before we discuss it. We can't discuss it if we don't have a second.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Second, yeah.
Okay, it's been seconded by Judy. And who wants to discuss?
What we were discussing before, I think Ron and I were actually talking about it, that in some areas, I mean, I think that if we tried to break it up a little bit, then it would it would be a little bit more interesting appearance, and therefore, probably more attractive.
Ron, you want to say anything to that?
Yes. My thought was just that if you, I'm getting feedback here. I'm getting an echo. I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
can hear you. You're echoing here.
Mr.
Yeah.
I think we
Vukovic,
just
Echo,
need
echo,
to
echo,
get it.
echo, echo.
Mr. Vukovic, if you turn down your volume, that should stop. Turn down the volume on your computer. See if that
How's
helps.
that?
But he's muted.
That was better.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
much
that's
improved.
it.
Yeah.
Can you hear now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. My thinking with this whole thing was to try to get away from the idea that you see it in many areas where there are like 7, 8 different trees planted, just side by side. And I think it just kind of looks a little unkempt and a little out of proportion, because some get very large, some are smaller, wider, whatever. So what I was trying to do is, if we're taking out an area, or if there is an area that's kind of a straight shot, I think it looks kind of good if you do, 3, 4, 5, 6, if you can, in a row of the same species. And even then, you've got other trees sprinkled on the perimeter of that. So I think it looks just fine. But I think it all, for me, aesthetically, is kind of comes from that Washington model, where they do 4 different species going around a block. We don't have any potential of doing anything like that, except on the area between 5th and 6th Street, which we've just started. But beyond that, I don't have much to say about it.
I have a quick comment to you, Scott,
Yeah.
and that's what's been done for a long time. Somebody wanted a dogwood in front of their house. Somebody else wanted a cottonwood. Somebody else wanted a London plane. And then you come up with what's here, and it doesn't have the kind of continuity we can gain by
But
planting some of these together.
I wasn't talking about, every other tree, something different. But what my thought is, if we had one tree, say one tree that's more, plain and whatever, and then you have something maybe that has, some flowers or something, and then you go back to the original one again, and then it adds more interest. And I think it would make the town, more attractive, and therefore people, I believe, going by my experience in the other place, that's the way we did it.
Okay. Anybody else? Have any comment?
This is Judy speaking. I think that limiting it or restricting it, I guess is a better word, to one variety, encompassing the entirety, may be both difficult and not in keeping with the possibility of some other design elements, like we talked about putting, flowering trees in. I do agree with the idea of that, as Ron said, I guess it was the Washington model or whatever, where you have like, the main street or a section of the main street, not being mishmash of, different ones. But I do worry about, there could be a design element that we come up with, or that, even a resident might just be in like the center of a block or something, and talk them into, or they even prefer a flowering tree and you have 3 in front of it and 3 behind it, and then have that one. And design wise, that is not going to stand out as a poor design like the every other one and 5 different trees.
Well, I
You know what
wasn't
I'm
talking
saying?
about 5 different trees, though. I was talking
Yeah.
about 2 trees, but every other one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one is going to be
that
a
may be
flowering tree.
unacceptable.
Well, I think maybe I'm making this overly complicated.
No,
I
I
think
think
what I'm
we
just-
are. You're making it simple.
No, what I'm, you know, the reason I guess I'm thinking about this is because I see too many instances of, like say a half a block,
Right.
and you've got 5 or 6 trees there, and each one is different.
Yeah. Well,
And-
I wouldn't agree with that either.
Yeah, well, I know, and so what I'm saying is if 2 or 3 or 4 are taken out or whatever, it makes a lot more sense to me to have a you know, for example, over at the Rumleys, you know, you've got the Zelkova,
Mm-hmm.
which is to the right of Sioux Orchard, and then you've got Sioux, and then you've got the Gormleys, and then the Rumleys, and then someone named Susan. And all the houses there are brick townhouses. I mean, there's a continuity in the
Mhm.
architecture. And so if you know, this is why I asked the question before. You have an opportunity to put 3, 4 trees or maybe 5 trees in a line there. What are you going to select? And I gave you 4, and I thought, you know, you might pick 1 or 2 or whatever. I was really kind of interested. This is kind of a prequel to this motion.
Mm-hmm.
And you get thinking of, well, what goes there? You know, we want a smaller tree that's 25, 30 feet tall on the list. I gave you 2 on the list. I gave you 2 that are not on the list that could be on the list because they're, you know, from a height and width standpoint are very much like what we're putting in. So I was really exploring, you know, what would you like? And if you follow Tom, I follow Scott, maybe what he's suggesting is you do 1 species and then you do another one and then you come back to the first one again and then maybe try like a 3rd one. Am I reading you right, Scott?
Well, I mean, it could be done with 3, but I mean, realistically, my original thought and the way we did it where I was before is every
Right.
one flowering or whatever,
Right.
and then 1.
Right.
But again, the key I think to this is we need to find trees that we know are not going to go above a certain height.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I
Well,
was at a house today that's got a tree that's about 80 feet and the house is only about 40 feet high.
sure.
And-
Well, and that goes without saying because we have a list of 10 with, you know, possibly 3, 4 more that all meet the formula.
Right, so, you know,
Yeah.
we could maybe change streets. On one street, do every other one, one group, and on another, you know, but I think it needs interest. It needs, you know, when people come in, it needs not to all look, you know, just plain. It needs something to attract the attention. And you know, because we're getting people moving in here and we're getting people looking here. And I think that to create interest, it's got to have some continuity.
Okay,
And-
let me ask you this: Have you looked at the paper barks between 2nd and 3rd on one side of the street, and then the Parodias on the other?
Well, you and I walked by there.
Well, I think this is the time to talk about it because we now have a whole street complete. I added 2 more trees along Harmony in that same area, and one side of the street is paper bark and the other side is Parodia. And then the question is, does that suit your aesthetic fancy?
You know, when I was over there, I was looking at that house that you and I talked about with the cracking in the street and all that. We talked about that a while ago. I was busy with her. I noticed the trees, but I didn't really look that closely because of trying to go through her issue with her.
Okay,
tree.
I understood. Well, let's do this.
But
Let's
I
just
mean, it's
table
a
the,
couple blocks away. I'll be more than happy to go look at it.
yeah. Well, why not? Yeah, and this is probably a good time to table the motion. And here we have something that you can look at. It's
Right.
been put in the last 3 years. It's all complete. It's one whole block done with, one species on one side, one on the other.
You know what? Maybe that's an idea to do, part of a block in one and part, I mean, that may, or do it one side one, one side the other. I just think you need different, something with a different appearance. You need to, because otherwise it just looks blah, just plain.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's why I did one side in one and one in the other. And, but, we may not want to do any more like that.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Let me ask- Ron, what do you think it would take to get, and I'm just saying as a trial thing, even if we got them in buckets and put them out just to see how they look, what if we tried getting, say, 4 of 2 different trees and lay them out one way and then lay them out the other and see what everybody thinks? I mean, it can't be that much money.
Well, it depends on how big they are.
Well, but I'm talking about something like you would plant.
You mean like the trees I just planted?
Yeah, how much were
No.
those trees each?
Well, they ran anywhere from $250 to about almost $400. There were 18 of them. And then the pits were pre-dug by 2 men for 2 weeks. It took 5 men to put all these trees in, and
Right,
it
but
took a
I'm not
man and a
saying
front end,
install
and
them
it
yet.
took a man
Right,
and a front end loader.
right. I'm not
So,
saying
you know-
install them yet. I'm saying
No,
put them
no, I'm
out.
just talking about cost. You
Yeah.
asked the question, what do these things cost? And I'm just telling you.
I think,
Now, where do you get those trees? And would it be possible for us to go there and try that?
now you're getting realistic. Yes, of course. I mean, you can really go to any nursery and do that. And well, this is all getting too complicated. I was just thinking of one simple thing.
yeah, I think
Trying to.
the trees that you planted, I guess, I assume you planted there on Harmony, the whole block there by outside the backside of the academy. And I think
Yeah,
that
those are the paper barks.
yes, exactly. The paper barks on that side. I think that looks stunning to be all the same tree. To me, that was aesthetically pleasing. I thought it
Yeah.
looked, in my opinion, I think it looks really nice. And I think it would be, I don't think it would look as nice if you had a different tree everywhere. I think in a group, when you have a group of them, I think it looks nice. That
Yeah.
whole block is, to
I
me.
think
Well, and that's what the people in Washington D.C. think. So they do one block that way, then they switch the species and then go the other way, and then so by the time you get around the block, you have an opportunity to view 4 different kinds of trees, but they're all basically the same in a row. It's like a lot of the main boulevards in Paris.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
exactly.
they oftentimes, yeah.
Thank you, Sheila. Anybody else have a comment, question for Ron? Okay.
But
what
Tom,
do you
let's do this
think?
another time. Yeah.
Tom, what
Let's
do
do
you
this
think
another
about
time.
Oh,
the
I'm
design?
very pleased with seeing the four group together. Another place that particularly looks nice is in front of the old library museum. and through there where he's got just, is it 4 that are there right now, Ron?
Yeah, there's four out of brilliance.
It just
Yeah.
looks beautiful. Where even trying to do one every other would take away from that. And so, you know, I'm not saying that there's trees that we don't have on our list that maybe shouldn't someday be on our list, but as far as grouping them with the way that Ron has picked up, which is mostly the model from Washington, I think is just the way to go. It's going to make the city look better, and mixing up the different trees. The houses are different, and the trees don't necessarily need to be.
Yeah.
I'll make it easy. I make a motion that we go with the program that you're talking about.
Well, I'm going
Well,
to
I
make a
think we already
motion and
have a
just say,
motion.
Why
You're
don't we
calling for
just-
the question, calling for a vote on the
Yeah, we already have a motion.
we have a motion. So, you know, if somebody calls for the vote, we have a vote. If somebody votes to table it, we table
Ron's
it.
trying to say something. Let's see what Ron?
well, I mean, this isn't something that has to be done, you know, this moment. I mean, you know, this isn't something that we're going to put in stone anyway, but it was, you know, it was more of a suggestion, and I would just say put it off and go out on the streets and look a little bit. What's going to work here? What, you know, have any of you been down to the Rumleys?
Hmm. I have.
you?
I have.
Yeah.
It's going to look
And
nice.
so what, you know, when you think of that space, it's a pretty big space. What goes there? That's really what I'm driving at. I think what I'm asking for is a little interaction, you know, so I don't run around all the streets making, you know, all the decisions. And then at some point people say, well, gee, I wish he had done X. This is a time for the tree commission to, you know, to at least begin starting to think about the idea of the aesthetics and, you know, and which one of these trees work with the other ones. I mean, that's part of the question.
Ron, you're looking for a motion to put it off until
Well,
next.
I'm just looking for some participation in thinking about it, and it doesn't
Right.
have to be voted on today. And you've spent way too much time, or I've spent way too much of your time, you know, talking about this. It's silly of me to do it. You know, you've got lots of things on the agenda. You know, why don't we attend to this at another time? This is a question that probably could come up.
As the chair, I can't cut it off, you know, and I can't even call for the vote on it. I can't. You guys have got to
Make
steer
a
it where
motion
you
that
want
we
it.
table it until at least the next meeting, or maybe even further out than that.
Is there a second to that? No seconds. We can't do it. Huh? No second. So we can't do that, Scott.
Go back to the first motion and then vote it down, and then we can vote
Yes.
to table it, I
Tom,
believe. Kathy,
yes, that is correct. Would you like me to read the motion as it stands?
please.
The motion was made. Okay, let me read this. So when you're considering, okay, gotta read this, hold on. When trees are being considered for planting in a series, they should be the same cultivar, meaning 3 being planted together.
So we're canceling.
That's the motion on the table.
That's the motion on the table. I seconded it, and I call for a vote.
Okay, so we need a vote. Would you like me to do it individually?
Yes.
Tom,
Yeah. Who'd you say?
Tom,
Yes. I mean, wait.
wait, you
I'm
were
voting-
voting, you were voting to approve, the motion is to approve
The motion.
that when a series is being
Okay,
considered
I'm
to.
sorry. Approving the
Right,
motion.
right.
Yeah.
Approving your
Okay, I'm
motion.
sorry, I got mixed up as when it's tabled. I
Okay,
vote
so-
yes.
Okay, Sheila,
Yes.
Judy,
No.
Scott,
Now, I just want to clarify because I think I'm confused here. Are we voting to use the 3 trees in a row, or are we voting?
we are voting on the motion to, when considering planting a series using the same cultivar. If that is approved, it's a yes. If you do not want to vote for it, if you want to disapprove, it's a no.
But are we talking about, because here's the thing, if we're talking 3 in a row.
No, I'm sorry, no. The motion is that when one or more trees are being considered for planting in a series, they should be the same cultivar, meaning 3 being planted together. It is not saying you have to plant 3 together. It's just
Okay.
an example.
Yes.
You vote yes if you
Yes.
approve that motion.
Okay, the motion has passed. Thank you, everyone. I'm sorry that, thank you. Good, got discussion over with and talked about it for a while. So on to the next item. By the way, this is time when members introduce anything they have. This is members' comments and discussion. So does anybody have a topic they would like to have discussed at today's meeting? Go ahead.
I don't have a separate topic, but in as far as the applications and the applications being too many and not all of us have seen it, I think 2 of them or 1 of them is something that we did table, so I do think that we should address it. And I think that what we could do is look at each one quickly, very quickly, and decide, are we going to table this? Because they're just going to mount up anyway if we keep tabling them all. You know, if we have enough information from Scott and the pictures, well, there's 1 of them that they just want to plant a tree. So is there a reason why we can't? Of course, I didn't see any of the information on it. But anyway, I think something like that, I don't think that's necessary to table. I think we could make a decision. That's my thought for ongoing, for the future of this meeting.
I've got as much information in those pictures
Right.
and all that you should have no problem. Because I took pictures from all directions and I can go
Right.
through, I mean, I have information from, that I believe we'd have enough information to make a decision. But realistically, a lot of the decisions are going to have to be made once we see, because the problem is that everybody is expecting the city to take care of the problem.
Mhm.
If there's a sidewalk problem, they want us to fix it. If there's now she realized, and I realized the one on down the street, 103 Harmony. The street is our problem. The tree needs trimmed is what it really needs. But it also, the roots are just all over the place. And she said she would buy the tree. She just can't afford to pay to have the other one taken down. I'm not sure it has to be taken down. I mean, we'd have to have somebody go in and look at it, see if the roots that are causing all the problems could be taken, could be done something done with it. And then it's just a matter of trimming the tree, and I think she could afford to do that.
Excuse me, if I could make a recommendation to decide on how to proceed and then discuss each application separately, if that is how you wish to proceed. Thank you.
I would like to comment that seeing these trees is, I think, the most important part. And to me, I wouldn't vote on something that I haven't looked at. And I feel that that's kind of what's happened to us
Mhm.
here. I don't think they're going to keep coming in as fast as they have, but they might. But I think each individual needs to get out and see that tree before they hear the discussion that the other people have, who maybe have seen it. I think we should sit down at a time when everybody has seen it. I think it'd be better to do it at a time when John's here, because John ends up explaining our findings to the the city manager. And I'm not going to be doing that. John's going to be doing it. So I make the motion, and you can vote it down if you wish, but I make the motion that we do not get into discussion of trees that have put forms forth for us to be considering them, or what's called a city tree work permit application, that we just don't act on. We don't get into them today, but put it off until when John's here, and at that time we know we're going to have more to do. Do I have a second? Okay, I don't have a second, so let's proceed however you wish.
Let's put it this way. If I would say, let's go through the pictures, boom, 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 let everybody look at them and see if they feel, because you may see, I take a lot of pictures. I take pictures from every direction and everything else. If you feel that you can't make a decision, then we just table it and we'll go, everybody has to go look at it, that's all.
Yeah, Tom, you made a really good point about John not being here. If he's the one that is going to pass this information on to the city, I think that that piece right there is critical, that he hears and perhaps Judy, to your point, there may be some innocuous ones that we could take a look at, as like planting a tree, something that's wouldn't necessarily need to be taken to the city manager to discuss, and maybe we could knock something like that out. I've been in Bethany for 3 weeks, so I haven't seen any of the trees, so I haven't seen them, and I won't get back until Thursday probably.
Well, let's look.
How hard would it be to send all those pictures to?
Well, I can, you want me to bring up the Harmony Street first and look at that one that you were
Wait a
just
minute,
talking
wait a minute.
Well,
We have the Harmony Street, oh, this is Judy. We have the Harmony Street one that we tabled. Did anyone not has anyone not seen that? It's still going to be a big question, and I don't think we're going to make a decision without John anyway on that. But that was one that we tabled so that we should have some, contact, I guess, with the applicant. And there's another one that is just someone wants to plant a memorial tree. I think we could discuss that because we don't really have the rest of the information, and maybe Kim does or something, I don't know. And the other ones, we may not have, I don't think we'll have, if you haven't seen them, I've seen most of them, all but one. And I think the bike path one we tabled.
Well, I got video on that.
But not everybody, I don't know if anybody else in that meantime from the last meeting has gone back to see that.
Well, but
The
she's
bike path
got
one, yeah.
video
Yeah.
that she can show us right now if you want to.
I could pull it up. Did you want to see the Harmony Street? Okay.
Tom, do you want to do which ones you might want to look at, or?
You're asking as chair, if there are certain ones I want to look at?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
I've already suggested we put it off, so I can't really suggest ones necessarily. I mean,
Judy, the tree that on 3rd Street that you're talking about, I believe 24 3rd, is that the one you're talking about? The
Rumley?
oh,
is that
you mean
the memorial tree?
the memorial tree?
That is the one, I believe, that is, there's nothing wrong with the tree. The problem is, and there's pictures in there, that the roots are coming up through the brick in the cracks, and it's pushing the bricks up and putting and kind of moving them around.
This one just said plant a memorial tree. She doesn't have anything else on here.
Is that 24 3rd Street?
Doesn't even have an address.
Look on the letter, the third page.
Mm-mm. No. Ann Harrison.
You have a file number?
In my packet, it's the next to the last page. It's right before
Oh, I have it.
um,
I have it.
David Atherton's.
Well, Atherton,
See, I think, if we look at this and there's no information on here, she wants to plant a memorial tree.
no, but that's the same.
Is that correct, Kim?
Yes, she didn't have a particular spot. She just wanted to know if
Yeah.
you could do that.
So I think what we need to do is just say, okay, we have to have more information. And she needs to know that. That's what I'm saying, we're responding to this application right now. We don't have enough information. We want to know where, what kind of tree, where she had intended it, or if she's wanting to donate and list it as a memorial tree, per our information that we, put in our, in the newspaper. We don't have anything, but there's certainly, we can respond to this because of that.
Well, I don't know, as far as putting a tree in, we don't have the address or anything.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
We'd have to find that out before we.
So so as far as that goes, I don't know whether, Tom, you do that or not, but whomever responds to the application, this is what we need.
Together with NCCP, we can put in a sign that says "in memory of somebody"
Right.
on one
And,
of the street trees, and
but we don't
ready
know
to go.
Yeah.
We'd like to have it. So if you
Mhm.
want me to communicate with the lady,
Right.
I
That's
will,
That's all
and
I'm
see-
saying is,
see if that does it. That's one possibility. If I won't leave her hanging, I can refer her back to this board, this commission, if she
Yeah,
doesn't like what we can offer.
right. If she had something else in mind, yeah, right.
So I'll do that.
Okay. So that one's done. Poof.
You were talking about Ann Harrison, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we're done. We're gonna, now I don't know, I've seen Harmony Street. I can make a decision, but I also agree that this is, and I think we saw that before. I think that it's, there were a couple times that we wanted to call in an arborist or something like that. If he's having trouble getting insurance, or his insurance, his insurance is going to be canceled, that's a different situation.
We need to know from his insurance company exactly what they're talking about.
Right. Because I kind of agree with Scott, and I know when we looked at it, when David and I looked at it and everything, I didn't think it was like, it's not one of the worst ones around.
Right.
And I'm not sure that the tree had to come out.
No, the tree doesn't have to come out.
If indeed the insurance, so I think that's what we should communicate about that. What is the issue with the insurance company?
Yeah.
Can he communicate that to us? Is that reasonable to ask? And then there's the issue as to, who does what. But I think to an insurance company, it may just be easy for them to say, oh, look, this is going to be a problem, and you're going to have the problem again in 25 years. So, take it out now. I think that's what insurance companies, I think, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll shut up now.
Well, I think, let me just say this, and then I'll shut up. I think the problem with that tree, first off, it does need trimmed because it's all up in the wires and it really does need trimmed. which is realistically, depending on the code, which I got today to go through to see, you know, but as any place I've ever lived, if you have a tree, whether it's on the street or in your yard or anywhere else, it's your responsibility to trim and whatever. The sidewalk, same thing. So it has always been the same, and including the curb. So I mean, it's all well and good that he wants it taken care of, but it's really his responsibility to take care of it.
But the other
Now-
thing is that it's one of those things that in order for him to take care of it even, he has to ask.
Right.
It's one of those trees that he has to ask about. So that's what he's doing, I'm assuming.
He should be bringing, I think he's trying to get us to do it. But
Well, you know,
he needs to have somebody from the insurance company contact us or get a letter to him that says exactly what their problem is with the tree. And if it's the sidewalk, that's something altogether different. Because the sidewalk is an issue, but that's also his responsibility. Although the problem is, I know that we do a lot of repairs around town without, you know, the owners paying. So that'll be a problem for, but we still have to get the info. We can't
yeah, I
make a
think all we
decision.
need, I think to go forward, we need the information from the insurance company.
Link together, the voice and.
Anybody else?
Ron?
That's my
I
thoughts.
agree. I agree. Get the information from the insurance company,
I agree.
preferably in writing, you know, to say what is
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Yeah,
Only in writing, I think.
only,
Yeah, I
you're
think
right,
On
Tom.
their letterhead, right.
You're right, Tom. Yeah,
You can't hear me.
okay.
We
So
need a
that's-
motion, excuse me, we need a motion on that, please.
We do, okay.
Yes.
Okay, I can
This-
make a
this was-
motion that we request from this individual to get the information from their insurance company in writing, on the letterhead, what exactly is the issue with the tree.
Or sidewalk.
Tree and or sidewalk. What is the issue with the insurance company?
Well, no, because the tree, yeah, I wouldn't say or sidewalk because
What
it
is the-
says
what
the
is the issue?
tree is dangerous to the property and his wants to be removed. That's what he's asked for. So that's all we respond to. It was a removal and it was the insurance company is dangerous.
Well,
I'm sorry.
before we could really make that decision, we need to see what's the issue with the insurance company, so we
Right.
can, that's what we need from
Is
him.
is that a complete, Kathy, enough motion?
It's probably too much.
Well, I'll work it over. To have the property owner provide information from their insurance company relative to the issue with the tree. Good enough?
I second it.
Thank you.
I call for the vote.
Aye.
Somebody goes, aye. Oh, my.
Oh, right, you got a call for it. Go ahead.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Okay, it passed. Boom.
It's another.
Next one, somebody would like to discuss.
Did you want to make a motion about the old business, the one on Harmony Street? Did you want to, is that going to be tabled? Do we need a motion on that one?
We need a
She has
motion.
asked, I'll tell you, she has asked to have that tabled.
Okay,
Who has asked
And
about the table?
I brought that information to this meeting, and so I see no reason why it can't be.
okay.
Does anybody?
The Harmony, we have two on Harmony Street, but you're talking about
103.
103?
No, I'm talking about 37 Harmony Street.
Oh.
37 East 6th Street, the tree on Harmony Street. No, I'm
Well-
sorry, that was just what we just discussed, wasn't it?
Yeah, right. That's the one that we're going to get with
Get the,
the,
inf-
Yeah.
from the insurance. I'm sorry. Okay, never mind. Forget
And the
me.
other one is that we were doing, what other one did we do?
well, let me just say this about 103
Oh.
Harmony. The street problem is definitely our issue. Because the roots have actually come out into the street. There it is right there. And I think I have a couple of pictures of that from different directions. And it is torn, it's torn the curb out and everything else. And it really is an issue. And the curb needs to be raised or redone. The tree, the roots, but that's the question again, is who's responsible to get rid of the roots? But the tree also needs trimmed. So that's her responsibility. You know, certain things are her responsibility, but I think we're going to end up like with the curb and because what happens is when the water comes down, it fills in this whole area. And it just runs right off of there. It takes all the dirt out and everything else. I mean, that part of that is going to be probably us, and part of that is her.
Well, it's going to have to be done in concert.
Right.
I mean, you know, or.
So what I'm saying, some of the responsibility, financial responsibility,
Right, well,
some of it is going to be her and some of it is going to be us.
well, I think that ends up in but Tom, you were saying that she wanted this tabled?
She does want to table it. I ran into her on the street and she knew I was on the commission. She started talking to me about it. And she went on to say that her big interest was that it come down, that it be gone. And I said, I came back and I read it. I said, that's not what your form says. She says, yeah, but
Right.
I didn't think they do that. And I said, well, if that's what you want, you ought to present it that
Well-
way, and we can stop talking about it, and you can present it the way you want to present it. But you know, we're talking about it anyway, so.
Well, I move that we table it. She wants it tabled, I move that we table it.
Hold on, please. Tom, when did you see her?
This morning,
What time?
I don't know. I can't. I
'Cause
couldn't.
I saw her about 1 o'clock,
Uh-huh.
12 or 1 o'clock, and she did not say anything to me about tabling. She seemed like she wanted to get it taken care of. And what you do with, I mean, if you want to table it that way, if she told you to table it, that gets me out of trouble.
Sure.
So that's up to you.
Well, that's where it is now, and I don't know how she can change it, and we'll change it, but especially after the communication we've already had. I mean, I think she thought if we were to be tabling it before we discussed it. But on the other hand, that's fine. It's tabled as far as I know. I mean, she's just withdrawing. It's not so much tabling, she's withdrawing it. And you know the reason she's withdrawing it, so it'll be back.
Okay.
I don't mean to be dense, but what's the reason?
That she preferred to see it removed.
Yeah, she
She
didn't,
told me,
It's
she
been already-
said, I want to see it removed, and I
Exactly.
got, and I, after reading, I said, that's not what it says.
Yeah.
He
it's
says,
funny
yeah, but I didn't think
with-
they'd ever do that. And I said, well, you know, it does face the parish house. It would fall in the parish house, and that's the way that it's leaning.
You
And
may have
that's
thought that
stuff
since
is
I
re-
came out there after she saw you, because she was very interested in getting it taken care of. I'm just saying what I
Yeah.
spent an hour with her there going over it. She came out when she saw me and she said, "Excuse me, what are you doing?"
Yeah,
I mean, you know, so, but I'm just telling you what about, it was somewhere around 1, 2 o'clock.
no, I was earlier than that.
Well, actually, I could tell you probably.
well,
Uh,
if,
Because I took the pictures with a timestamp on it.
Okay, well, it nonetheless, nothing's going to get done right now anyway.
No.
So I guess the question would be, I put the motion out that we table it, but Tom, you're actually saying that she withdrew. She wants this withdrawn, the application.
So she can reapply.
Rewrite it. Yeah, rewrite it and reapply.
That's the whole idea, yeah. Yep.
So
I make a motion.
Robert's
to
Rules of
table.
Order doesn't cover that. I don't know how.
Well, I tried to withdraw it.
Withdraw my motion.
Whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. As long as you know, as long as she knows she told you to hold it off, I have no problem.
Right, okay, see,
We
I
do have
withdraw the
pictures to
motion.
go by though, anyway,
There was no second anyway, so
no problem.
we move on, and I don't. West 12th Street is one that I have not seen, so I don't want
We have
to.
pictures of West
Can you give the
12th.
file number
That's
file number's
Catherine
up.
Lewis.
under Tree Advisory Commission, under city?
2020, what, they're all,
Okay, Joan Watson? Yes?
no, but they're all the file numbers are 2020.
No. Oh, my gosh.
So
Oh,
you're listing them under the file number, and these are just the year numbers.
no, I'm sorry. Somehow I thought they used to be, that they had a dash after it. And,
Yeah.
But that's, okay, fine. So Joan Watson is, no, but we just,
No, it's Catherine Lewis.
I have a bunch of pictures of her situation. And realistically, there is an issue there. It's not our issue, except that this tree is very large, and a large part of the heavy, big branches are in her yard and could fall on her house without a question. It needs trimmed. It probably has never been trimmed. And she's scared to death that this thing is going to, this is from the middle of the house. Now there's I do have a lot of pictures from the backyard.
All right, Kim. I'd still feel better to go out and see it anyway. And that's it's the only one I didn't do. Is that it?
Yeah, these are the pictures. These big branches over here, those are over this woman's yard. That tree is huge.
Mm-hmm.
The base of that tree is at least 4 or 5 feet. And, it should have been trimmed a long time ago. This is leaning, that piece right there is leaning right over her house. And she's worried about it. And she has a right to be, because these branches are way behind from having been trimmed. This tree, I don't think that tree's ever been trimmed.
Okay.
But it's not our issue.
It's not our issue. It's in
It's
her
got to
back.
be done by the neighbor.
Right. It's in, well, no, but what I'm saying is it's in her backyard.
Yes.
is it her neighbor's backyard or her backyard?
It's in her neighbor's
The
backyard.
tree is in her neighbor's backyard, but these branches are in her yard.
And so it's a problem between her and her neighbor.
Right.
Because we don't deal with people's backyard trees,
Yeah, private property.
private property.
But we, I think, have to,
I mean, we can certainly help her and suggest whatever, but like I said, as far as the application goes,
Yeah.
this is not under our purview.
Well, and I also told her that, you know, the city is not going to be responsible for it. All we can do is give her suggestions on what to do, but realistically, the cost of this is going to have to be, you know, paid by him. She says, well, he doesn't have the money. Well, you could split it with him, but, you know, that's up to you.
Yeah,
You know, but the city's not going to cover the cost of this,
yeah, this is not a city issue.
right?
No, if the branch falls on her property, it's her insurance that actually takes care of it, not her neighbor's
Yeah.
insurance.
Right,
And
but
yeah.
the problem is, it's still her house that gets messed up.
It's
So,
a shame, but yeah, it's not in
so
our,
this application can be just responded to by that
I
fact
did
that,
exactly what you just said, Judy.
yeah, it's not under our purview, it's on private property. We can consult privately, I guess. Tell her she's got to take it up with him.
You know, maybe she needs to call an attorney or talk to him.
I've been there. I know what, yeah.
If he can't do it, then she needs to call an attorney. And
So, we don't need do we need a motion to tell you, Tom, that you have to write her a letter?
I think Furia.
No, I think
could
we-
actually. I'm sorry to interrupt. I think you could actually talk to Furio.
Oh, is that Kathy?
Mhm.
This is Kim. I think you could actually talk to Furio. She was looking for maybe some indication that the people on the tree commission thought it was a dangerous tree. Or if they thought it was not a dangerous tree, you know, but
Yeah.
I think that Furio is the one that would talk to her in the first place, and he's the one that brought it in.
I
And
think you're right, yeah.
It
Well,
doesn't look
I
like
mean, I
it's
believe
weeds.
there's potential for danger there because those branches are very heavy and very long.
Yeah, but it's not a disease tree. It's not as if it's something that's
No.
going to be imminently going to fail. So yes.
It does need to be trimmed, some of those long branches.
We're the advisory committee, and it's not in the area that we're advising
No.
the city manager on. I suppose we refer to the city manager, and he can do as he wants with it. I think Furio probably works for him, and they can take care of advising these people. And I guess we need to write it up that way somehow,
Mm-hmm.
John, to have this
Realistically, I told
communication.
her
Or
Same thing.
we can tell John. John said he was going to check with me when he got back about what happened in the meeting. I'll be glad to discuss this one with him, and assume that from there on, his talking to the city manager will take care of it for us. Is that okay?
Okey doke.
I don't think we need to vote on it. What happened to the one about the people that had a lot of other questions about who owns the tree and these things?
Dave Atherton.
In Delaware?
Who was that? I've known their name, but I've forgotten it.
No, 3rd Street, West 3rd.
Oh,
Lula and Dave Atherton.
Atherton, that's who it was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What number is that on your,
It's just a sheet. It's on the very back of my
Fourth one.
thing. Thank
Next
you,
page one?
Kim.
there, she's got it up. Yep.
thanks.
So I guess we answer these.
Now, this one is the one that I was telling you about, where the roots of this tree that is between them has actually come out between the bricks on the top,
Yeah,
and it's spreading the bricks and also raising some bricks. And there's pictures of it. It's kind of cut and dry, but what it amounts to is, again, it's not really something we can do anything about. I mean, it's not our responsibility. But I mean, I think the only thing we can really do is, the same thing we're doing with the others. Say, look, this is your option. This is how you can have it, some of the roots taken out or whatever. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with the tree. The tree is fine. It's not even that big.
I'm not sure that that's, actually, I think, to me, I'm reading it that she just wants the questions answered.
Well, it's,
She's not saying Dave and Lulu aren't saying we want this taken care of.
right.
I think they just want to figure out what's going to have to be taken care of.
Let me mention something on this. The thing Ron and I have been talking about and asking people about and getting mixed answers is who owns the tree?
Right.
Who owns the tree? And I'm
Well, between
somewhat,
the
it's
two
how can we be a
houses.
tree commission if we don't know who owns the tree? And it comes back that way. I don't know if anybody thinks that they do know for sure. I think the sidewalk is owned by the city, and I think the responsibility for keeping up the bricks is with the owner. And I've heard that, but
Yeah.
nobody can find that written anywhere.
Well, see,
Suzanne
normally,
Souter looked for it for us, and for Ron and I, she couldn't find it. Ron and I had an intention to have a discussion on this today, which was an item on my list, but I don't think we'll do that about, what do we do when we don't know who owns the trees, who owns the sidewalk, who's
normally the
responsible.
sidewalk is the responsibility, in every place I've ever lived or worked, is the responsibility of the homeowner.
I've always heard that in Newcastle. I've always heard that's the way it is in Newcastle. Now, a lot of people don't do it. And then somebody
Well,
like
we
Ron,
don't, I mean, we replace them.
Ron
We
goes in and
repair
does
them.
it for free. I've paid to have mine taken care of. So,
Too.
so answering who owns the tree, I don't think anybody knows the answer to that. I don't think it's ever been determined. Does anybody just differ with that?
Well,
I think the city owns the trees.
You do? Okay. Secondly, I have heard that. I didn't mention that just now because I was forgetting it, but I have heard that the city probably does own the tree. Ron, you there?
Yes.
And one of the reasons I have been told the city owns the tree is if they need to cut branches away for electric wires to come through, they want to be able to do that without even having to get written permission or something from somebody who thinks they're the owner of it. So they do maintain ownership of that tree. So thank you for reminding me of that. I think so the answer to this on this letter is going to be that it's the owner of the tree is the city.
Mm-hmm.
And number two is,
can I, before we write that, can I just check? I have the new the codes for that have to do with trees.
Yeah.
Can I read through that tonight and then before we send something back that gets us in trouble?
I think Ron and I have read through it, but that'll be fine. That's fine. Yes. Let's
Well,
hold
if
up.
you read it and you find that it's okay, then that's fine.
I think there was a clarification in the last year or two
About who owns the tree.
about the trees and the sidewalks and whatever. And I know it caused a great deal of consternation in the people of the audience at a council meeting because, legally you can really have a good time with it. Oh, you own the tree, but you're telling me I have to do this and it's going to cost me this. And, lawyers just love that.
Yeah.
And by the way, nobody should think that that's a problem that you're looking at right there. I mean, it's something that needs to be done, but that's so minor.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's nothing.
Not even
I mean,
That one's a little one.
I've done 50 of those.
In one day.
No, that's not true. It takes me a while to do them, but I've done that. Yeah, I mean, that's not a real issue. I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, I think that, compared to Kathy Warner's sidewalk, which I did this summer, I mean, this is.
It doesn't
nothing.
look like a tripping hazard.
No, heavens no. And any of you on the tree committee could do this with just a few little lessons. It doesn't mean you want to, but you could.
I mean, realistically, it's just a matter, the roots are not that big.
No,
And realistically, all you'd have to do is cut those sections of the root out, pull it out, and then put the brick back in.
yeah, and at Kathy's this summer, the tree you were talking about just earlier, we had 3 bags of roots that we took out. This would probably, fill a half of a bag, maybe.
I don't
By the
even
time
know
we
if
got
it
'em
will
all
that
out?
much, Ron. I think you're right. You're talking about very, very little to do this.
Yeah, that's minor. Yeah. Yeah, really minor. But it doesn't mean it shouldn't be done. And I think the concern is that someone has probably stumbled a couple of times on these knobs that come out.
Honestly, they're not even that high. I mean, you'd
Yeah.
have to really work hard to stumble on it.
Right.
Maybe it was after happy hour.
Yeah, well, that's it.
No, that's not true. I've come past there all the time, walk that all the time, whether it's, after happy hour. I haven't stumbled.
Yeah,
Well, you
Well, we
are
can get that
one
out of there.
good walker then.
yeah. I'm happy to do it. Let's just get it off the agenda. I know where it is now, and we'll do it.
Okay.
Okay. Who's going to supply them with the answers to this?
I mean, do you want me to call? Or whoever could call? You want to call?
Scott, if you're willing to do it, if you're offering to do it, I think you should.
No problem.
Okay. You can call them and tell them
That's
that.
my job, isn't it? Doing work?
There's one
Yes.
question in there that Jeff
As far as I know,
Bertram's
that is,
working
yeah.
on.
Which is
Is
Oh,
there
the
work
first-
plan?
whether
There's work
there's any,
plan?
yeah.
So
And
many
I
people
would run,
talk.
yeah, I would run your answer by maybe Furio or Mr. Barthel before you went to them.
Right.
Which question was it?
That there's work being planned in the area,
Oh. Okay.
and Jeff Bertram's looking at that.
Well, actually, they're working. They're doing it. They're working right there down the street from there. On the parking lot, I guess. Somebody is. Okay. Well, I'll handle that.
Scott, if you'd be kind enough to tell them within 2 weeks, it'll be removed.
Well, I'm going to tell you from the commission, thank you very much, Ron.
Thank you.
And I will, oh, he's in, oh, he's got a Virginia number. I'll call him tonight.
Okay, and I think the only other thing was the crooked trees on Washington Street.
Well, let me tell you, the tree is a little crooked, but realistically, trees go in the direction of the sun. And if you plant it straight, it could still end up going in another direction. It is, though, directly, see, the picture makes it look like it's about 4 feet inside the wires. It is directly under the wires. But again, because we planted it, it's still their tree, right? It's a yard. It's not a on the street.
It's all of Washington Street was planted like that. I thought it would be, wouldn't that be street tree?
Well, it's about 4 feet off the street. which
Those
would
are
be
the
dark.
trees they planted after they worked on Washington Street. They
Right.
planted one
Oh,
type on
that's-
one side and the other side on the other.
I didn't
Right.
realize that, but, I mean, he wants, I mean, the biggest case scenario is you pick it, you dig it up and straighten it, but, or move it back. I mean, it really should be moved away, back away from the wires. I mean, right now, it's up in the wires, and it's not even that big of a tree.
No, Scott, that's a London plane tree.
Oof.
Oh,
Is it a London plane?
That's
I
what they put
believe
on that
so.
side of the street.
And they put the London plane trees on the side of the street with the wires?
Yep,
So the trees get 60, 70
yep.
feet tall. And then how about the other side of the street with what's on there? What, did they put the crepe myrtles over
They
there?
put crepes, I thought.
That's where the crepe myrtles are.
Yeah,
They're on
So,
one
but the
side.
crepe
of
myrtles,
trees are on one side.
the crepe
Just
myrtle
tree-
side does not have wires, or do both sides have wires?
I didn't really look at the other
Looks
side.
like both
but I can
sides.
tell you this,
Look, you can see a telephone pole here, and you can see a telephone pole on the other side.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay. So it didn't matter. Yeah, I got you. Okay. Thank you.
But this tree is going to tear those wires down.
Yeah, it sure will. Yeah.
I mean, that thing's
Looks like it needs,
it's already up in the wires, and it's a small
Yeah.
tree. It's only 15,
Yeah.
18, 20 feet.
right. And it
This
looks like
is
it
my
needs to
picture
be,
here. The other one was when it was planted.
and you'd have to limit up above the wires.
They're high up there. What do we figure? We feel that tree should be removed?
I think it should be, because I think we need to put a tree in there that's going to make sense.
it's
Something
not
like,
the only one, though.
Is it the only one that's in the wires?
you know what? I was trying to get all
don't
these
think
things
so.
done today, so I went through them pretty quick. I did get a lot of pictures of each one, but I'll run by there and take a look. And if we see any more issues, I'll let you know, Ron
Yeah, thank you.
or Tom.
Got a lot of what you're doing. We need to it's most important, we let the chairman know. Because he needs to talk to the city manager about this, because
Yep.
there's a possibility of spending the money to plant a new tree in this man's yard somewhere else. And then Judy says, and I think it's right, that there's a lot of other ones that may be in the same situation. I guess, you better talk that over with John, and then John talks it over with the city manager. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Scott?
Yeah.
That's
I
fine.
agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, if I've tried to get a hold of John a couple of times, but I don't know if he called me when I was out of town or whatever.
Okay.
I mean, let's put it this way. This could be pulled up and moved further into the yard,
Okay.
which would eliminate the problem with the size.
He's calling me when he gets back, he said, and to find
Okay.
out what happened at this meeting. And I'm going to put him in touch with you on
Okay.
this and other. In fact, you might keep a list of the things you want to talk to him about. And
Well, I've got it all
good.
pretty
Well,
much.
I'll tell him to call you. And he's busy. He many times hasn't returned my phone calls either. And
No,
so
I know.
I can't blame him.
Busy guy.
So you pretty much have to try to call him back if you don't get him. Okay?
Yeah, no problem.
And Scott, if you were to move that, 2-3 men, hand digging,
Yeah.
4 hours,
Mm.
maybe $400 or $500 to dig it
Well,
out.
no, but I'm just saying, is it going to be, of course, if you dig it up, you could probably use it somewhere else and then put something smaller. I mean, I
No, I was just thinking of moving it back. I mean, if you were really going to try to transplant it,
right.
move it back 10, 12 feet. But I just wonder, when those are 60 feet tall, how far away from the wires do they have to be to really have a successful tree?
Well, I would think 10, 15 feet. Well, yeah, 60 feet.
I think the electric folks want a 10-foot clearance from their wires for everything.
I see. Yeah.
So
Good.
we'd probably have to go 15 feet minimum,
Right, so,
which is getting
be,
a little closer to the house than they may want.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I just don't know what the spacing is there. As I remember, I haven't looked at those homes in a
I
long
think I-
time, but they're not
I think
large.
I have a picture headed towards the house. Kim, don't I have a picture that kind of the house is in? Yeah, there you go.
I see, yeah, uh-huh,
So 15 feet's going to put them right up there by about where that block stuff is, whatever it is.
Right,
or
right,
whatever,
got it, yeah. Mhm.
Which is going to be, well, but that's off to the side of the house, so it may not even matter.
Right.
They may not care.
Now, is this a little bit of it right here that we're looking at, right on the
Yeah.
right-hand side there?
Hmm.
That's a little bit of the tree. Yeah,
Right.
so the wire is right up above that,
Right.
and I don't know if you have enough room then. I mean, it's going to be very, very close to both the wires and the house. When it gets really big.
Well,
Ron,
but
two men couldn't move that, Ken, could they? Two men can't carry that tree. It's so heavy. They're gonna need a
No, they
tractor.
could dig it. They could dig it, and then a
Yeah.
skim loader would have to pick
you
it up
gotta
and
have a
move it.
skid steer or something to do it. Yeah.
Very expensive.
They've got a machine, they have machines that'll go right in and boom, dig it out, dig the hole and put it back in, but then you're really talking.
That's expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, we had one of those things and I'm telling you what, those things are not cheap.
No,
I mean, that's why we ended up buying one because it cost so much money every time we
right,
did one.
right.
Scott,
Yeah,
this
skim
was the
loader
country
is-
club? Scott, was
Huh?
this at the country club? Was
Was-
this at the country club you're speaking about, you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay,
We had one of them.
okay.
But I mean, we had, let's put it this way, we had unlimited funds, so it made sense for us to buy,
Have we covered everything in
I
the,
believe,
this listing, and how, Kim, and is everybody okay there, Kim?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything to bring up? Sort of a last chance. Okay, do we have anybody that wants to suggest that we call it a night?
I moved to end the meeting.
Okay, seconded? Somebody seconded? Okay, everybody approve, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's over, man. It's over.
Dinner time.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you particularly, Scott,
Okay.
for all that stuff. That's, I
No
have to
problem.
say, that's fantastic to get to see those pictures, and they were good, and they really do, they cover what's happening.